Anyway, let's get back to Montague. This is Montague's story.
Anyway, Henry, I learned a lot from Henry John.
Attaboy.
Tell me about the golden rectangle. You ever hear of the golden rectangle?
I know the
weight, height.
Yeah.
He told me.
That's Fibonacci's ratio.
Yeah.
1 point something or other.
1.6.
Yeah, with a whole string after it. Yeah, the golden.
So I use in my gallery. I ask artists if they ever heard of the golden rectangle. They say, no, what's that?
Well,
so I have this. I give it to them.
Yeah, well, they call it something else. The golden mean or the golden.
No,
it's the arches in Rome.
Yeah, they're all fit that.
That's right.
And Fitzhugh Lane, who was a great artist in.
But anyway, getting back to Montague and his 2 minutes of fame. Paul D'Entremont came along, and you and D'Entremont were a pair of beauts.
Yeah, he was designing knobs. So remember you doing knobs?
I remember the knobs.
Months on these knobs.
Well, I remember the columns, the purple column and the yellow column that he put all through the plant there, whatever colors they were.
And then I said, you know, Paul, when you switch a knob, you hold it differently.
Yeah.
So I made up of aluminum knobs and brought them into him.
Yeah.
So he changed and put the slats on the side of the knobs for switches.
Yeah.
And so that was my influence.
Okay. Then you got married. You married the niece of General Rommel.
No, not the niece. She was her father was a distant cousin.
I've been telling everybody for years she was Rommel's niece, and you just blew it.
Truth wins out in the end.
That's right. And then, but then you left GR.
Yeah, I left GR because they just weren't paying me what graduate engineers were doing. One thing I did, I'd like to tell you, we're doing a multi-flash generator for Charlie Miller. Remember Charlie Miller?
Oh, sure, I remember.
Rogers and I did this multi-flash generator. Well, Henry said, you know, package it the regular way.
Strobe.
Built case.
The strobe.
Yeah, the multi-flash. 16 strobes you could.
Yeah.
So anyway, Charlie Miller says, why don't you put 4 switches on a little that circuit board? It'll cut down on your wiring. I said, that's a great idea, Charlie. Then I said, why don't we put the whole instrument on that circuit board?
Good.
That'll be the panel.
Yeah, great.
I said, geez, Henry won't approve of it. So I went to see Bob Fultz. I said, Bob, I don't want to get fired over this thing, but I told him what I wanted to do. Oh, go ahead, you won't get fired. So we built the thing secretly, see? So we go to an...
Jesus, you're an iconoclast, boy. You were
when you have your instrument, what do you call that group of guys?
Oh, the development committee.
So you bring this instrument, and Bill Rogers comes in and puts the flip tilt thing and shows them, you know, and we open it up with all the wires and cables in it the way it was supposed to be done. So then we've got a better idea. We pull this thing out from under and open it up, 1 screw, 2 screws, and the whole thing is on a circuit board. You know, Ivan Easton stands up and said, my God, why don't we do more instruments like that?
Right. So then you left to open...
I went over to Dick Setty's group.
CPO?
Yeah, worked for Dick
All right, I was in California.
No, it was right here.
You were here, but I was gone.
You were gone.
Yeah, I was gone. But Setty,
Dick Setty,
and Larry Mounts.
We worked on this great big via hole tester.
Yeah.
Great big thing. And my job was the mechanical design of that thing, motors and all that stuff. And he said, why don't you do the power supplies for it? I said, well, I'm not electric. Can you do it? I said, yeah. So I designed all the power, where the power supplies go in the thing. I mean, didn't design it.
Great. So then when you left, though,
I quit and I went down to... we were working on voltage regulators at that time. Costa-Chaturis.
Yeah.
1591s.
Yeah.
And there was a company down, Eastern Specialty Company, which opened in General Radio, started in 1915 or something.
Yeah.
They were using voltage regulators in his equipment.
Yeah.
The simple one that Costa designed.
Yeah.
With the tube.
Yeah.
So they were burning up. The motors were heating up and burning up. And Costa was long gone.
Yeah.
Bill Rogers says, geez, why don't we find a solution? So we had a contest for engineers at that time, just to get people lined up. So he put this diagram up there and said, look, this is the problem. These motors are burning out. Can anybody solve the problem? Guys would take copies and go home with them. So he comes in one morning and says, I got it. He said, we had 3 diodes in here, and it'll keep them, if the motor is hooked up one way, anyway. We had 3 diodes on the thing. So I made up a little drill fixture, sent it down to Eastern Special. They drilled them and put the resistors in, and they were happy as could be. So then when I left the company, I said, I'm leaving. So Eastern says, well, why don't you come down and see me?
Where were they? Boston?
Down in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia? Oh, that's right. You moved down.
I went down there.
I remember
bought a
that.
house down there.
Yeah.
And,
Were you married then?
yeah. And we sold a house up here and went down to Philly and bought a house down there, moved in, and then I was working for this. I went down for a weekend to try.
Yeah, I remember
So
that.
then, so we get in there, and they wanted me to. My job was to get production going. They had all these
Sure.
orders, they couldn't get them out.
But I'm afraid this is we're gonna have to do chapter 2. But let me finish the story, then you can go back. So Philly, and then you came back
Then
here.
I came back here, and Carol and I started our own business.
That was the Montagues
Montague, yeah. Montague Furnishings we started out.
in that store.
Yeah.
Yeah, same place you are now. You wound up buying the
We
building.
bought the whole building, had the biggest gift shop.
Yeah.
Rebuilt the whole building in
Yeah.
10 years,
Yeah,
restoring
I
it.
remember that.
And then we had a 5,000 square foot gift shop,
Yeah.
the biggest in Concord.
Yeah, no. So you had a hell of a good business for years. You
And then
you got divorced somewhere along the
Well, I
line.
said, Carl, it got overwhelming. I needed my freedom. I said, let's close the store down, sell the building, get divorced. That's what we
Right,
did.
go to Africa.
And
Right.
I says, we'll be happier. So
Good.
We did it. Well, just lucky she didn't have a nervous breakdown.
I know. But anyway, you separated and you reopened the business, or you
Yeah,
kept the business.
well, I didn't reopen. I just took a smaller area.
Right. And now it's called Montague's
That was called the Concord, let's see, the Concord Mousetrap.
Concord Mousetrap, where you sold these
Mice,
Concord
and I
mice.
wrote a book about the little mice that live.
Yeah, and then you opened a website and your business doubled.
Yeah, I put a website on with a camera.
Yeah.
My own catalog.
Yeah, I remember.
had to hire
I
two
remember.
people 'cause there was
So the
nobody
business
noticed it.
boomed,
It boomed.
and then you changed the name of it a while back, and you
Well,
got
I
into.
want
Yeah.
to make it into a gallery.
Paint-
People don't want to come into a
I
mousetrap.
understand it,
So,
but you still do the mice,
yeah, that's my main
and you have
business, selling
paintings,
them.
and you have a bust of Thoreau,
Yeah,
and
a
all
lot of-
that stuff, and you write books,
Yeah.
and you are living the life of Montague,
Yeah.
and I hope,
Downtown Concord.
attaboy, and I hope you return, and we will continue to
Thank you.
chapter 2.
Thanks, folks.
All right, say
Nice seeing
say
you.
goodbye to all your buddies.
Goodbye to anybody's.
All right, bye.